Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my Victober wrap up. Now I have actually read far more books than I thought I was going to read in Victober because I really enjoyed it. So thank you all for doing this. I have absolutely loved every second of it. I have learned new authors I never thought I would ever like. I've met new channels I thought I would that I've never heard of. And it's really done me the world of good. So thank you so much to all you hosts, especially to Katie from Books and Things. Katie is the channel that I've been subscribed to for quite some time, and I literally adore that lady. She's so good and she's so warm and she responds to people and she's brilliant. The other lady is Kate Howe, who I've been talking to a little bit on here. She's new to me. She'll be on another one of my videos that will be coming up shortly. But yeah, I really like Kay Howe. I think she's absolutely lovely. And obviously I've got subscribed to Lucy and Beyond Angie from Beyond the Pages, so I will mention their channels. I will link all three of their announced, I think either Victober videos or just purely as their channels. So you guys check them out. I think I'll just see as soon as Victober's finished, I'll just link their channels below, just because I think they're lovely and I want you all to subscribe to them. Victober, like I said, has been amazing. Now, I've had some books that I didn't like. I've read one book that I really didn't like. A lot of new books to me. Now, a lot of the books I've actually read for this have been from the library, like I said, as extras. But, like I said, this has introduced me to loads more Victorian books that I want to pick up. And I will let you know those at the end. So, should we get started? Let's start with a book that I didn't do well on. I'm so sorry, guys. Under the Greenwood Tree. I wanted to like this. I really did. I only rated it 2 stars, unfortunately. The writing wasn't the way I wanted it to be. I found it really hard to understand. I didn't really understand the story of it. It is purely about 2 newcomers that settle in the village of Mellstock, bringing change and disruption to the rural inhabitant. Mr. Maybold, a vicar, was hot and strong and in the church business. And then there's Fancy Day, the school teacher, and flower amongst vegetables, so an equally upsetting effect on the hearts of young men. Now, I liked Fanny Day, but I did struggle with this book. I really struggled to get into it. The ending is probably, to me, was one of the best bits, but I didn't understand it at all. And that, again, that could be down to my newness to Victorian literature still, and the fact that I'm new to Thomas Hardy and it was my first Thomas Hardy. I did also have the, I've got upstairs A Far From the Madding Crowd, which I will keep, but unfortunately I'm going to have to give this one away because I really struggled with it. You never know, I may think, oh, but after reading Under the Greenwood Tree I might try again on this, but I can't imagine that, to be honest. It was a real struggle. I read this for Katie's challenge, read a book less than 250 pages. So I did read it, and I'm really glad I read it, but it wasn't one that I liked as much. Now, like I said, I went from that to all the other books, and all the other books I really liked. They're all, pretty much all of them are 4-star apart from one. And that is purely me being new to the literature and me finding it hard to get into, but 4 stars to me, as you guys well know, is a really good rating. Now the first, no, I won't go to that one. The first one is that I've got, that I read, that I don't actually have with me currently, is The Warden by Anthony Trollope. I picked that up at the library as an extra book, purely because I have heard lots about Anthony Trollope, mainly from Tom Rees Things channel, and from Katie as well. I know they're both big Anthony Trollope fans. And I said to Tom, what book do I read? What book of his do I start off with? And he said The Warden. So I thought, right, I'm going to go to the library, see if they've got it, because it's a shorter book. Again, it fits into Katie's challenge. Cats decided to appear again. And I thought, oh, I'll try that. And I loved it. It is the first book in the Barchester Chronicles. And I mean it. It is an absolutely brilliant book. His writing is brilliant. I fell in love with the lead character. I fell in love with his daughter. Sorry, I'm going to get the cats out of the way. I fell in love with his daughters, especially the youngest one that is spoken about quite a lot, Eleanor. I literally loved her. The characters are brilliant. Your heart went out to him. Oh my goodness. The lead man, oh, he's such a lovely man. And my heart went out to him throughout that book. Mr. Bold is the guy that's coming in. Basically, the lead character, I can't remember his name, and he is the warden of the... sort of like, it says it's like a hospital, but like Katie said, it's more like a place for old men where they go, and the warden is the guy who not only looks after them, but he is like to do with the church, and he sort of ministers to them almost. His bishop, the bishop of the area, is his daughter, one of his eldest daughter's father-in-law, and basically this is to do with the fact that there is another guy, Mr. Bold, who comes in, and he disputes the will of the man that originally sort of ran the hospital, and he just doesn't agree with the fact that the warden is getting so much money, and this is to do with that, and this is to do with the fact that Mr. Bold also loves the warden's younger daughter, and this is to do with that, and it's sort of, to me it's more to do with the fact that not just the warden and his own struggle, but his daughter, his youngest daughter, and how she struggles with the fact that her heart wants to be with Mr. Bold, but she feels more loyalty to her father, and I think that's about it. I don't really want to give any spoilers, but I hope I haven't said too much already, but The Warden is a great book to start off with, and I plan to definitely continue with the Barchester Chronicles. So thank you a lot to Katie and Tom. The next library book that I've got that I don't obviously have with me now is actually the first book that I read in Victober, and that was Lois the Witch. One of my other cats is going to come in a minute, so she's going to knock, hopefully she won't knock this. But it is to do with the fact Lois the Witch is a very short book. It's one of the famous, the amazing Elizabeth Gaskell. I love that lady. She is absolutely amazing. I love this book. Lois the Witch is a very short book, less than 200 pages. And it's about a girl who is going from Victorian times in England over to America because she has been basically orphaned, and her mum sends her to her uncle, to Mary's uncle, to Lois's uncle, and her uncle's pretty poorly. I don't really want to give too much away, but there is witchcraft involved in this, which is perfect to be read this month as well. And they're accusing people of being witches when they're not necessarily being it. And it's a gothic style of writing, I would say. It's quite dark, it's quite dingy, but Mary Barton is beautiful. She writes amazingly, and that was actually my first, Elizabeth Gaskell. I will get confused. That's purely because of the next book. But Elizabeth Gaskell that's my first book of hers, and I liked it. So it made me even more excited to read the book that is my favourite adult book, which I shouldn't be saying now, but it's my favourite adult book of October. That is Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is actually her first book, so it's sort of like a demo run for it. It's quite a long book. It's not too long. It's about less than 400 pages, but about 370 pages. But it's about Mary Barton, basically. Now, we start off this book with Mary Barton, who's named after her mother. Now, something happens to her and her mother in the start of this, which confused the hell out of me because I wasn't sure which Mary Barton we were talking about. That's what happened. But she is silently, when John Barton's wife dies in childbirth, his daughter Mary becomes the light of his hearth and his voice of his otherwise silent home. She's secretly adored by her best friend, Jem Wilson, who she's grown up with. And yet there is the handsome Harry Carson, who is the son of a rich mill owner. She kind of turns a little bit by him, but stuff happens in this, and it's not just about that, but Mary Barton is so strong-willed, and she's such a strong character, and I literally fell in love with her. She fights for her rights, she fights for her father, she is really fighting against some bad things that happen in this time. It's sort of set in like a Manchester sort of area, yeah. Stories of Manchester life in the 1840s. I've never read about Victorian literature from that time. Like I said, this is my first Elizabeth Gaskell book. Now, apparently, most people don't start off with Mary Barton. They start off with one of her more popular books, such as North and South and Good Wife. So what's the other one? Yeah, North and South, and the other amazing books, which for the life of me, I can't remember. This is where I'm bad. But Wives and Daughters, there you go, that's the other book. Most people start off with those, but I started off with this because I found it in a charity shop, and I'd heard lots about Elizabeth Gaskell, mainly from another one that people from Kate House. She speaks about Elizabeth Gaskell, and there's some other ladies on the Victober mashup sort of video where lots of people are talking about Victorian books, and they spoke about this book, and they spoke about Victorian literature. So I was really glad to pick this up and read this. And to me, yes, it's 4 stars. I'm now sort of going on from a bit and thinking about it since I've put my original star rating on. I'm now going to go at 4.5 stars, to be honest, and I may well go through my phone and edit it, because I thought that was absolutely beautiful, and it's really made me desperate to pick up North and South. So guys, any of you family members that are watching this, it's on my Amazon wish list. I want North and South. I always drop hints on this channel, don't I? But yeah, this is my favourite adult book of Victober. Now I'll go to my next other book that I loved, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This book is my longest Victorian book so far, but apparently, even though it's about 500, just under 500 pages, it's actually one of his shorter books. Now, Katie said that this is probably one of the best books to start off with Charles Dickens, and I totally agree with her. It did take a bit of time because the way Dickens writes is very character driven. I think to me it was character driven. It was really about Pip, a young boy who we start off with this book as he's a young boy, and he is orphaned, and he lives with his sister and her husband, and her husband Joe. Oh my goodness. I think Joe will go down as probably one of my favourite characters ever because of the way he's written about. But it starts off a bit slow, and you start off with Pip, and he is seen relatively quickly by Miss Havisham, who is a very rich lady who lives in like a big mansion. And not long after that, he hears that he's been sort of, not as much, almost like adopted, or sort of like he's got this loads of money that someone wants to teach him. He's got a man who's got loads of money for him, basically, and he wants him to become a gentleman. He has great expectations of Pip, and he's going to support him and get him along the right terms of life. Now, this leads him to meet some other amazing characters. And I really like, he becomes a friend with a guy called Herbert. I can't remember his last name for the life of me. I told you this is me not being very good. But it literally, he gets his best friend, and I love his best friend as well. And they support each other, and they go through so much throughout this book. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved the way that he thinks his sponsor is one person, but I won't tell you whether it is or not. But it's the fact that he wants to sort of better himself, and he goes about it, and he really tries to get educated. But he never forgets Joe. He never forgets his sister. And it's beautifully written. There is a demon lady called Estella who is Mrs. Havisham's adopted daughter. And I hate her. I hate her from the very beginning, because what she does is wrong, and she really leads Pip on, and she's just the demon woman in my eyes. I really can't stand her. But again, the writing is so beautiful that yes, I can't stand her, but I can understand why she is. You know what I mean? It's a brilliant writing. The characters, you really do fall in love with the characters in this book. Yes, it takes a bit of time to get into, mainly because I think this was my first Dickens book, and one of my first earlier sort of Dickens books, and I think to me that was what made it harder to get into, but I am so glad I persevered. It is a beautiful, beautiful book. Yes, it's 4 stars, but it is amazing, and I would definitely recommend you start off with this. Now, me and Charlie are now going to be looking for David Copperfield, because I've heard rave things about it by Tom. It's one of Tom's favourite books, and I can't help but love it. So definitely would recommend this book, and I definitely can't wait to read David Copperfield with Charlie at some point. Now, my favourite book has to be The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. It is my reread, and I loved it. I remember the film from the old days. It's a very old film. I'm 40 for crying out loud. It's got to be an old film if I watched it when I was a child. But watching it when I was reading it as an adult, oh my goodness, I took so much more to this. I believe it has quite a lot of biblical and Christian relevances in it. It teaches about lessons. It teaches about, it's got magic in it. It's got magical realism in it. You're sort of you're meeting the Queen of Fairies and water babies, and you're learning lessons as an adult. And oh my goodness, Tom, who was a poor, ill-treated chimney sweep, runs away when he's wrongly accused of stealing. Then his life's changed forever when he jumps into a stream and is rescued by the Queen of Fairies. This is gorgeous. The ending is different to what it is when you see the film, but it is beautifully written. I can't believe it's a Victorian children's book, because it's that gorgeous. It's not difficult to understand. It is beautifully written. I think you can read it now, you can read it whenever, and as an adult you can read it, and as a child you can read it. But I'm so glad my mum encouraged me to get this book, because it's beautiful, and it is definitely my favourite book of Victober. It's 5 stars, 101% love it, and I'm so glad I read it. Now, I again talk about the extra books that I'm reading. I started this a couple of nights ago, Alice in Wonderland. You know, I put this on one of my other videos. But I'm really not sure. I'm only like 60 odd pages in, and I'm not sure what to think about it. I'm not sure what its rating is going to be at the moment. But obviously, the rating will come up when I do obviously put my Goodreads review up, which I always do, and it's already over Instagram. My Goodreads review will come up on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So if you're on with me on any of those channels, you'll see the review. So you guys will get to see the final rating, because I'm not sure yet. I really don't know what I'm going to say about this. At the moment, I'm finding it harder. My copy of Alice in Wonderland is Alice in Wonderland and Look Through the Looking Glass. So it's kind of like a double whammy. Now, I know the lovely Clint wanted to read this, but I couldn't wait. I had to read this. I wanted to do it as an extra one for the Victober, and I will determine. Now, normally with children's books like this, I would read them at bedtime. But because the writing in that, I think I'm going to need to read it a bit during the day, because it's not as easy. I'm not going to be able to read as many like quick page reading at night time like I like to do. So you never know. Now, what I wanted to do with the last little bit of this video is to talk about some new channels that are new to me and that I've started through Victober. Now, I'll talk about them more because I know some of them will come up on my favourites videos in the next coming months. The more I get to watch them, the more I will fall in love with them. But I wanted to tell you these channels, and I wanted to link them below because I want you to check them out. So I've got to remember to link Tom's channel, because Tom's one of my best friends on here. A lovely guy. I think he's amazing. But obviously, these are the new channels that Victober's introduced me to me. So I'll start off with the lovely Tanya from the Sampler Girl. She is someone that I've met through this, and we chat a bit on Instagram, and I think she is probably one of the loveliest ladies I could ever meet. She's absolutely amazing. You would love her videos. She talks a lot about, she does a lot of vlogging. She's got great choice in books, not just Victorian books, but she has great ones. She will probably come up on one of my favourites videos and I will talk about her more there, but she's amazing. Hannah's Books, that's another channel I've loved watching. She's really sweet. She's got a really kind heart, and I just really enjoy her videos. Now, another big one I'm majorly shouting out to is Jennifer Brooks. I have watched her for a little bit, and I really love her videos. She is so passionate about her books. She's so real, and she's amazing. Please check her out. Another one that will probably come up in favourites. And probably the newest channel to me is Megan Hannett. I think I've said her name right. She is a very new channel to me. I watched her via actually the big Victober book video that came out, but on Kate Taylor's channel, which again I will link below because it will tell you loads of channels to check out. But she's also co-hosting the Louisa May Alcott readathon, which I'm going to be participating in. She's very new to me, but I'm really enjoying what I've read so far, and I like the fact that she's actually talks back, she comments back. So to me, she's a brilliant channel. But I hope you've all had a brilliant Victober. What has been your favourite book of Victober? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. And I really want to thank you all. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And I hope you've all had a great Victober. Take care. Bye-bye.